Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today for the Women's Center of Danbury and their Sexual Assault Awareness Month self-care yoga class. I'm Jenny Shuck and I'm happy to see you. This is a simple yoga class. There are some props that if you have available something, either the prop or something similar, then that could be helpful. These are yoga blocks. These are styrofoam or some sort of foam. If you don't have them, I'm going to use them for support, say to put your hands on. If you don't have them, you could use books. And if you don't have them and you don't have anything that can substitute, then I'll give you options, all right? But they will make your life easier if you have something. I have 2 blankets here. Any blankets will do, blankets from your couch or your whatever, your bed. I've got 2 here. You're welcome to use more than that. You can also use couch cushions, pillows. This is a yoga mat. I think most people know what that is. It keeps you from slipping. In general, we practice barefoot, or if you don't like to be barefoot, you could try a grip sock. Just be careful with regular socks because you'll slip, and you certainly don't want to slip. It's at the very least annoying, and at the most it could, cause you to fall. All right, so one of the first observances of yoga is ahimsa. That's a Sanskrit word that translates to non-harming. So we don't want to harm ourselves or anyone else. And so in your yoga class, make sure that you don't do anything that causes you pain. Discomfort is understandable as you're exercising, but you don't want to feel pain in the joints, pain of a body part on the ground. If you are feeling pain of a body part on the ground, you can use your cushions or pillows or blankets to deal with that. If you're feeling pain though because of a previous injury, or even if it's unknown why, then back off, right? Back off till it doesn't hurt anymore. All right, it's not worth it. This is the opposite, if you ever did any sports, is the opposite of the no pain, no gain mindset, the complete opposite. All right, in yoga, we are here to be kind to ourselves. All right, so you're the monitor of your discomfort, right? I can't be, you're going to be. And all the poses can be modified. I will give you different options for each pose, and again, only go to the ones that don't cause you too much discomfort. What happens when you're experiencing too much discomfort or pain is that you lock up, right? And then nothing happens, right? You're just creating more tension, and in yoga, we're trying to release tension. Also, be careful that you're not putting yourself into positions that are triggering. So if you're in a position that's bringing up past trauma or bringing up extreme emotional discomfort, then come out of the pose. And you can either sit in any position that makes you feel comfortable. If you like to put your head down, you can come into child's pose and put your head down, whatever makes you feel most comfortable at that time, and then rejoin the practice when you're ready. Keep in mind that you can change your mind at any time. If you, started a pose, but now it's starting to feel really uncomfortable, bringing up something from the past, then you can change your mind and come out of it. You can also change your mind and come into it. Whatever works for you. You can change the position of your body slightly if that's what helps. Sometimes putting your hands over your heart might be helpful. Sometimes, not doing back bends would be helpful. So it's really dependent upon you. Now, how does yoga relate to self-care? Well, I love this book by Kristin Neff called Self-Compassion. She's a researcher, a psychology researcher, and she's done a lot of work in this area. And she talks about the 3 components of self-compassion, and they are mindfulness, and in yoga, we're really all about awareness, all about seeing what's in front of us, right? Understanding the sensations, simply noticing the sensations, noticing the breath. The next one is kindness. So that can come into, there's all sorts of ways to be kind, right? You could be welcoming, friendly, neighborly, empathetic, right? Lots of different ways to be kind. And again, we're becoming aware of these sensations in our yoga practice. And the third one is a recognition of our common humanity, right? That we are all one, that all sentient beings are one. That simply because we experience joy and suffering, we are just as special and important as anyone else, and just as unspecial and unimportant as everyone else, right? So we are all one. There's a common humanity here. She says that if you show yourself the three components of self-compassion, then you will stand up for yourself the way that you stand up for others. Let's work on practicing self-compassion through yoga. Alrighty, so we're going to begin sitting. Come to a seated position. Simple cross-legged is fine. If you prefer to be kneeling, that's fine. And place your palms face down on your thighs and take a moment to rock a little side to side and feel your seat on the ground. Then simply ground your palms by pressing down lightly onto your thighs and lengthen your spine, reaching the top of your head up toward the sky. We're creating a little space in the spine here. Little space for breath to flow, little space to decrease compression. And now find a spot on the floor, maybe 6 feet in front of you. If you don't have that much space in front of you, then pretend. And soften up your vision a little bit so it's not so sharp. Just a little bit out of focus. And this will be our resting position. The gaze in yoga, we call it drishti. So this drishti will be our resting position. If at any point you need to come to a seated position, you're welcome to use this. We soften up the vision a little bit so that our eyes aren't hardening and we don't have that scared deer in headlights feeling. Now, if you have books or a block, place it down next to you. Let's place one on either side. And take your hand on it and reach your other arm up to the sky. Take an inhale and lengthen up through that side and that arm, and then side bend. Getting a little stretch in that side body. Don't overdo it. This is just the beginning of class. We haven't gotten very far. We're not warm yet. Come on up. Other arm up to the sky. Inhale. And exhale, side bend. And enjoy that light stretch that you're feeling. Come on up. Now, take your left hand onto your right thigh. Take your right hand behind you onto your prop. You're welcome to place it on your block or on the blanket you're sitting on. Inhale and exhale, turn to the right. Take another inhale and exhale, turn. Don't overdo the pull of the arms. We're trying to get some of the muscles of the core to help us to twist. Come back to the center. Take your left hand behind you, right hand to left thigh, inhale, and exhale, twist. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Come back to the center. Nice. Now let's do some neck stretches. So turn your head to the left and center, to the right and center, left, center, right, center. Now bring your left ear toward your left shoulder, center, other side, center, other side, center, other side. Stay here. Now, start to roll your head forward just a little bit so that you're on a diagonal. You're starting to look down at that right knee. Come back up. Bring your left ear to left shoulder and start to look down toward the left knee. You feel that can give you a nice stretch along that right side of the neck. Come back up to center. Take your hands right onto the jaw, right up where it meets the ear, that TMJ, temporomandibular junction, and massage the jaw. Nice little massage right in there. Now up onto the temples, that soft spot of the skull there. Oh yeah, that's a nice spot. And as you do this, release that skin in between the eyebrows. Nice. And then with the finger, go ahead and rub that space in between the eyebrows. Nice. All right. Come on to all fours. If you have sensitive knees, as a matter of fact, let's everybody do this because it's, if you have a blanket, because it's a self-care day, we're going to be particularly cushiony about practice. Knees on the blanket. Take your hands onto the floor. This is our tabletop position. So we are shoulders right over the wrists, knees just below the hips. Long spine. Gently draw up your belly button so that you're strong in your core. And then we'll come into a back bend. So inhale and lift the chest and let the belly drop. And then exhale, round the spine like a Halloween cat. You round that spine, bring the head down. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And we're getting a little movement for the spine here. Keep following your breath. Inhale, cow. Inhaling, cow. Exhaling, cat. Let your spine wake up a bit here. Now take some free form movements. So maybe you want to make circles with your hips. You can do some tail wagging. You can do more cat-cow. Whatever feels right to you. Our brains get overworked. There's so much to think about, so much to do between work and everything else that we do. So let your brain take a little vacation here and let your spine drive the movement. Now we come into child's pose. So bring your hips back onto your heels. It's okay if they don't touch your heels. And then take your elbows on the floor and prop, like a kickstand, your forehead onto your palms. So this is one way you could do child's pose. Excuse me, if it bothers your knees, you could take a pillow or blanket behind your knees. This can help if your knees bother you. And now we'll try to go a little lower, stack the arms in front of you, and place your forehead down. But you can always go back to that first kickstand version. Big inhale. And big sigh out. Come back up to all fours. Again, shoulders over the wrists, knees below the hips. Take your right leg back, straight, like you're doing a plank on that leg. And then reach the leg up to hip height. All right. Now, draw in the sides of the waist so that you're starting to, it's almost like you're putting on a corset. You're drawing inward. Reach your left hand forward if you feel stable. All right, so this would be option number 1. Option number 2 is to walk the left hand forward and be on fingertips. And then option number 3 is to raise the left hand off the ground up to the shoulder height. Keep drawing in the sides of the waist, drawing up the navel. This is helping to stabilize your midsection. Reach through the back heel, reach through the front fingertips. Very nice. Now bring the left hand down, and you can stay here or bring the foot down or circle the foot. You can even point the toes as you circle the foot and imagine that you're drawing like a spirograph circle on the wall behind you. Change the direction of your circle. Whew, I'm feeling this in my leg. How about you? Right on the back of the thigh, hamstrings. And back to all fours. Let's wag the tail a little bit. Let that release. Back to all fours. Reach your left leg back to your plank position. Stay here or raise the leg up to hip height. Now begin to draw inward. Everything drawing inward. Belly drawing upwards, sides drawing in. Stay here or come forward onto fingertips. Or take the arm up to shoulder height. Spinal balance. Drawing in the sides of the waist. Bring the arm down. You can bring the leg down or circles. Pointing the foot to draw your circle behind you. Not a big circle, spirograph style. Change direction. And come back down. Very nice. Reach that right leg back to plank again. And bring it down. Reach the left leg back. And bring it down. Right leg back. Down. Left leg back. Down. Right hand forward onto fingertips. And back. Left hand forward onto fingertips. Right hand. Left hand. Left leg. Right hand. Back to center. Right leg. Left hand. Back to center. Right hand. Return. Right leg. Return. Left hand. Return. Right leg. Return. Right hand. Return. Left leg. Return. Left hand. Return. Right leg. Return. Wag the tail. Now, draw one knee, right knee, toward your chest, and we're rounding the spine to the cat pose. Bring it back down. Left knee forward and into the chest, and down. Keep marching side to side on the knees. And we're rounding the spine the whole time. Getting some movement in the hips here and strengthening the hip flexors on the front of the hip. These are often weak in us humans. Come to stillness. Pull the right knee in again. You're in that rounded spine. And now reach the right knee back as you come to cow pose with the chest and lift the leg behind you. Draw it in. Lift it up. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, in. Inhale, up. Exhale, in. Up. Back to all fours. Left leg, draw the knee in. Inhale, up. Exhale, in. Inhale, up. Exhale, in. Inhale, up. In and up. Nice. Wag the tail. Now, with the right knee, we're going to circle, keeping the leg bent this time. So little circles with the leg bent. And you're welcome to increase the size of that circle as much as you want. Change the direction of the circle. Now you have to stand up tall on that left knee so that you get clearance of the right. Back to all fours. Left leg. Circle, one direction. And the other. Now really warming up the hips all around its range of motion. Back to all fours. Grab your blocks if you have some. If you don't, you'll need to use the floor for this, unless you have, a block substitute. Bring your left leg forward in between your hands. All right. And then come off of the knee and back into a lunge. So I'm going to move this block so you can see. Your knees directly over your ankle. Your feet are hip width, and you're pressing through the right heel behind you. Just like when we worked the spinal balance, draw in the sides of the waist so you're like putting on a corset. Very nice. Bring that knee down and bring that leg back. Right knee forward for the lunge, tuck the toes and lift up. Now we're stretching the hip flexor, front of the left hip. Press through the left heel. Spread the toes on your right foot. Right, we're becoming aware of all these little aspects of our body, even the toes. Bring that knee down and bring the right leg back. Left leg forward again. Lunge. Get your lunge all set. Now we're going to take the right knee down to the blanket and take your hands up onto your left thigh. You're welcome to stay with the blocks. Now you can stay here or raise the arms up to the sky and come into a back bend, reaching back. Take an inhale, get long, lift the heart. Exhale, hands down to the blocks. Bring that left knee back, right knee forward. Into your lunge. We'll set up our alignment here, knee over ankle, pressing through the back heel. Then bring that knee down to the mat, hands to the thigh or up. Lift up through the heart, wherever your hands are, even if your hands are on your thigh or the blocks, lift up the heart. Feel that nice stretch alongside the ribs. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands down to the blocks. Tuck the toes under and back this time, and we're going to take little steps forward till we bring the feet next to each other. Bend your knees, hands to hips, come on up. Now, move your blocks off of your mat and your blanket. Let's stand at the front of the mat. I'll turn this way so you can see me. Feet hip width. Feel your feet on the ground. Arms alongside your body. This is Tadasana, mountain pose. We're going to use that same drishti, looking straight ahead this time, that soft focus. Feel the weight of your body coming down onto your feet, the heels grounding. Tadasana is mountain pose. And here we are, strong and firm like a mountain. Not overlifted, simply drawing the crown of the head up. When I say not overlifted, I mean not overlifting the heart. We're not looking for a military kind of lift. This is simply a a lift of the crown of the head upward, like you're being suctioned from a spaceship above. Now, this is a pose that I recommend committing to memory so that if you ever need to feel grounded and strong like a mountain, you can pull this pose off in public without anybody noticing that you're doing something, right? You can stand in line this way at the store or wherever you know, if you're having a difficult conversation with someone, you can stand like this. Ground down those heels, lift up through the crown of the head. Feel the breath coming in through the body and out. From here, take your right leg back and turn your feet parallel. Now turn your left leg out 90 degrees so the toes point toward the front of the mat, and turn your back leg in. This part's important. Turn that back leg in like so. Heel going back, toes coming forward. Hands on hips, lunge. Again, we're trying to have the knee over the ankle. Lengthen. Lunge, lengthen. And we're warming up the hips here. You may feel this on the inner thigh of either or both legs. You may feel it in the outer hip of the left. We're all different, so we'll feel it in different areas. Now this time, stay down in that lunge. Take your arms out to the side. This is Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So you're strong and firm like a warrior on the bottom half of the body. The feet are grounded down. The legs are lowered in this position, creating a lot of space and strength. And then the upper body lifts. There's a freedom in the upper body. A lift of the arms, a lift of the chin. Warrior 2. Lengthen the front leg, hands to your hips, and turn your feet parallel. This is go-go. He's interested in yoga once in a while. Turn your right leg out 90 degrees. Turn your left leg in. Hands to hips and lunge. Take your lunges. Let's connect this to breath. Inhale up. Exhale, lunge. Inhale up. Exhale, lunge. Up. Exhale, lunge. Inhale up. Exhale, stay in your lunge. Find your feet on the ground. Your hips are going to turn a little bit so that the knee can be over the little toes, or in line with. The knee is in line with the little toes, right? Not buckled in like this, but out over the little toes. So the hips do need to turn a little bit for that to happen. Arms come out, and you're looking over those right fingertips with a lift of the chin. Strong warrior, free warrior. Lift the heart. Even lift the back of the heart. On the inhale, come up. Hands to your hips. Bring your feet parallel. Turn your left leg out. Your right leg in. Lunge into your Warrior 2. Arms out. Turn your left palm to face the sky. And now reach your right arm down your leg. Try not to put any weight on it. Simply rest it there. And lift the left arm up as you go into a sort of side bend, back bend. This is reverse warrior. And we're reaching up through the left fingers. You can look up at that hand, or you can look down at the right hand, whichever feels better on your neck. Come back to Warrior 2. Lengthen the leg, hands to hips, and turn your feet parallel. Turn right leg out, left leg in. Warrior 2. Turn right palm face up. Go back to reverse warrior. Reach up through the right fingertips. Option to place your drishti up at those fingertips or down at the left fingers. back to warrior two. Lengthen the legs, come on up. Bring your feet a little closer together. Turn both feet out this time, all right? We're coming into goddess pose. These are knees over the toes, in line with the toes. So you may need to shimmy your feet around to get that just right, because sometimes we do this where the knees buckle in. We want the knees to be in line with the toes, okay? So we're gonna lengthen the legs and reach up. This is 5-pointed star, palms facing forward, a little tiny upper back bend. It's just a little lift of the collarbones. And then bend the elbows, bend the knees, come back to your goddess. Inhale up, 5-pointed star. Exhale, goddess. Inhale up, 5-pointed star. Exhale, and goddess. Inhale up, 5-pointed star, stay here. Then take your hands down to your hips and turn your feet parallel. Bring your feet hip width. You may want a wall. We're going to do a balance pose, so you may want something to hold on to. If you don't have a chair near you, a wall will work. Stand with your feet together. Turn your left leg out, so the knee is pointing out to the side, and now you're up on the ball of the foot and kickstanding that leg against the right. Now, you can stay here and start to work the hands into this position with the hands at heart center. Or you can bring the foot up off the ground onto the shin. Hands at heart center. And if you're flexible and you want to go even higher, the only rule is to not put it on the knee. So you can put it above or below the knee. And then your hands to heart center. Now you can keep your hands here, or one hand on the wall, or arms up. And lengthen through the side ribs. No matter which position your hands are in, stand up tall in your right hip. We tend to sit in it. Stand up tall. Put some space in that hip joint. Bring your hands back to heart center and bring that leg down. Nice. Take a little marching in place. Little hip wiggle. All right, other side. Right leg turns out and comes to the kickstand position, or can come off the ground, or can come up above the knee. Hands can be on a chair, on the wall, at heart center, or up overhead. You can make a V if you want. I like the V. Feels free on my tight shoulders. Reach up through those fingertips. Stand up tall in that right hip. Tall, tall, tall. Try not to grip the floor with your toes. See if you can spread them out. Let yourself wobble. That's what balance is. Take your hands back to heart center and bring the leg down. Little marching in place. Take the hands, fingertips onto the shoulder caps and circle the arms. Bring a little movement to the shoulders, freeing up the joint. Let's change the direction. Now, hold your palms up in front of you, together, hands together, palms up, and imagine that you're holding the water of compassion in your hands. And this water of compassion, or self-compassion, we're going to pour over the forehead, then turn the hands inside out and let the compassion rain down over you as you circle the arms back and down. Scoop up some more compassion, lift it up to the forehead, splash it, and then let it rain down. Scoop up, let it rain. Scoop up, let it rain. Keep going at your own pace. You may like to go faster or slower, whatever feels good to you. Maybe this is a once-a-day practice, letting compassion rain down on us. Last one. Oh, shimmy shake those shoulders. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Okay, now come back to the front of your mat and grab your blocks. Take an inhale and raise your arms up. This is upward salute. Exhale and fold forward, bend your knees, hands on the blocks. Forward fold. Bend your knees and look forward. Now move your blocks out of the way. Bend your knees enough that you can get your hands down to the ground and walk back to a down dog position. So this is feet hip width, hands shoulder width, long spine. You're basically making a triangle, upside down triangle shape. Now, let's begin with bent knees. And if you like to pedal the feet, that can feel good on the calves and on the Achilles tendons. And then come to stillness. And if you like, you can begin to lengthen your legs. Just make sure it doesn't cause any rounding in the spine. If it does, bend the knees until you can straighten your spine. Come down to the knees. Let's take child's pose. This time in the child's pose, you've got your kickstand version, your arm stacking version, or your arms out in front of you and forehead on the floor. If your forehead doesn't touch the floor, you've got your trusty blocks, blankets, books. Back up to all fours. Grab your blankets, or maybe you have a series of pillows. We're gonna fold them so that there's some length to them. This one's got some length, maybe 3 feet. No, this was 2 feet probably in length. But whatever you can get out of your blanket, it doesn't have to be exact. What we're gonna do is lay the belly on the blanket with the head on the other side. So we're gonna come forward. Now for ladies, this can kind of smush you, right? So if so, then put your chest in front of the blanket, okay? Now, let's come down. You stack one hand on top of the other, forehead on the hands. Bend your right leg and pull the foot toward the hips and then down. Left leg and down. Right leg, down. Left leg, down. Right leg, stay there. Now you can either stay here, or if you can reach, grab the foot with the right hand and draw that foot down into a quad stretch. So we're stretching the front of the right thigh here. Release. Other side. Bend the left leg. If you can reach, hold the foot and pull downward. Release. Now take your hands sort of like you're doing a push-up right next to your chest. Forehead down on the ground. Legs are hip width. We're going to inhale and lift up into a back bend here. Almost no weight on the hands though. It's all the back muscles doing the work. And then come down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. Press up to all fours. Move your blankets out of the way. I'm going to give options for this next one. You can either do a three-legged dog, if you know what that is, or a three-legged tabletop. All right, I'm going to show the tabletop first. So we're going to lift the right leg up behind, bend the knee, and then turn the hips to the right. And I'm coming up onto the fingertips here. If you're doing down dog, don't come to the fingertips, stay on the palms. And this is giving a little bit of a stretch, perhaps on the front of the right leg, and maybe even in the hips. So stay there if you want to continue with this variation. I'll show you the three-legged dog version. You'd come up to down dog, and lift your right leg up, bend the knee, and turn the hips. Okay, so you've got a couple options there. Everyone come back down to all fours. Take a child's pose. Back up. Now lift the left knee up. You're welcome to do this in the down dog position. Lift the left leg up. Bend the knee, open the hips to the left. A little stretch up that left side and come back down to all fours, child's pose. Come on up. We're going to come down to the back now. Constructive rest, knees bent, feet on the floor, hands on the belly, and feel your breath coming in and out of the abdomen. Pull your right knee into your chest, hands on the knee or behind the thigh. Stay here or lengthen the left leg along the floor. Getting a little more stretching in the hips and thighs here. Bring both legs to constructive rest. Petrie. Hey, Petrie, don't do that. Pull the left knee into the chest. Petrie wants to eat those flowers. Petrie. And exhale as you pull the leg a little closer. You're welcome to keep the right leg bent. Back to constructive rest. Now take your right knee into your chest. Turn the leg out to make a figure 4 shape. Maybe you can see me better from this angle. Figure 4. All right. Maybe like that. All right. Then bring the knees closer to the chest. Now you've got the option to keep that leg on the floor. If you feel a lot of stretching here, then keep that left foot on the floor. You can also raise your left foot onto a block. That might be enough. And then the last option is to pull the legs in and hold behind that left thigh. Flex your right foot, pulling the toes back. Notice if there's any tension in the back of your neck. Bring those legs down to constructive rest. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Right foot can be on the floor or on the block or off the floor, pulled into the chest. Hands would be behind the right thigh. So you can see I'm threading my left hand in between the legs in the whole of the figure 4. Any tension in the jaw? Release those legs down to the ground. You may want a blanket or stack of blankets or block for this next one. I like to use 2 blankets. This is a supine twist, which I think a lot of people have done. Even if you haven't done yoga, a lot of times you've done this stretch. You're in constructive rest, arms out to a T. If you're short on space, arms to a goalpost. Pick up your hips off the ground and shift them over to the left a little bit. Place them back down, knees into the chest and over to the right. I like to have this stack of blankets underneath my legs. But you can also put blankets, some people like them between the knees. This is all related to your anatomy, so whatever makes you feel comfortable. In this case, we actually are looking to be comfortable, unlike the more active positions. This is a passive position, so we want to be comfortable. So stack yourself up till you find it. It's okay if your left shoulder's not on the ground. It's okay if your knees are not on the ground. Mine wouldn't be if I didn't have the blankets. Come back to the center, constructive rest. If you're using props, bring them to the other side. Arms out, pick your hips up, shift them to the right, knees to the chest, bring them over to the left. Supine twist. Your head can be in any position. So if you want to look straight up to the sky, you can do that, or you can turn to look at your right hand. Bring those legs back to center. Get yourself back into constructive rest with the hands on the belly. Take a few breaths. Now, take one hand on top of the other on the heart. Walk your feet up pretty close to your hips, hip width, and then lift your hips up off the ground. This is a low bridge pose. You're welcome to raise the hips any amount higher. Make sure you're keeping your throat soft. And then come back down to the ground. Now you can keep your hands here if you prefer, or you can take your hands down next to your hips, and we'll do the same pose. Press your feet down as you lift the hips up into your bridge pose. Try not to push your head into the ground. Let it lay on the ground. Feel the breath easily coming into the lungs. And lower yourself down to the mat. Pull your knees into your chest, give yourself a hug. Little rocking side to side. Little massage for the back. Oh yeah. Come to stillness. We're going to set up for our final pose now. The final pose of every yoga class is Shavasana, where we lay still. So the first option is to simply lengthen your legs out so that you're laying on your back. You let your legs fall and your arms are right next to you with either the palms facing up or facing you. You are welcome to change your arm position. Hands can be on the belly, one hand belly, one hand heart, both heart, right? So you have those options. Now, if being on your back is not your favorite way to be, for whatever reason, then you can take your blankets or pillows and you can do a side-lying Shavasana where your head's up on the blankets and your arms can be in any position that feels comfortable there. And if you're more of someone who feels more comfortable on your tummy, then take one of these blankets and make a surfboard out of it. So you want some length now. And you would lay that on your mat. And then, just like you're swimming out to catch a wave, you come down onto the surfboard, one hand stacked on top of the other, and place your head down on that. So go ahead and finagle around, see which you like. You are also welcome to put your props on top of you. That can feel comfortable. If you are laying on your back, for instance, you can lay the blanket on the hips, sort of a grounded feeling. You could lay it on the chest. That feels comforting to me. And a little bit like I'm hiding, which is a way I want to be a lot. I need my hiding time. So whatever you settle on, go ahead and get yourself set. You can change at any point. If you prefer to be sitting upright, you can sit quietly in a chair. And now let yourself settle in. Let your muscles go. Imagine that the ground beneath you is like a hammock and you're being gently cradled by the earth. The jaw is soft, the temples are soft. The throat is soft, the heart is receptive. Your back body is so strong, so capable. Let it be your rock so that your front body can be soft, compassionate, connecting with other people. Understanding of this concept of a common humanity. Scan your body. You can start at your feet and work your way up. And see where your kindness center is. Where do you feel like kindness comes from in your body? feel like an obvious choice is the heart, and that might be obvious for a reason. But maybe it's somewhere else for you. See if you can find your kindness center. And when you do find it, feel the warmth emanating from that center out into the atmosphere. And notice that though that kindness leaves you, goes out into the atmosphere to other beings, it also, some of it, rains back on you, settles onto you. Wishes you joy, wishes you freedom from suffering, understands you, supports you. Begin to deepen your breathing a little bit. And begin to twinkle your fingers and your toes. Just a little bit of movement. If you're on your back, take one arm overhead and lay it on the ground behind you, and turn onto that side, resting your head on your arm. If you're on your front, gently place your hands next to your chest and very slowly, gently push yourself up. Those of you on your side now, lengthen your top leg and push yourself up. And everyone come to any seated position. You're welcome to be cross-legged or kneeling or in a chair. Take the hands in front of you. We're going to do Lotus Mudra. The lotus is a flower from India, which is where, well, I don't know if the flower is from India, but it's prevalent in India, and that's where the yoga practice is from. And the lotus flower, similar to what we see around here, a pond lily, comes up out of the muck underneath the water, goes all the way up to the surface of the water, and then blooms just on the surface of the water. So the idea is that from this stuck, muddy place, this flower is able to make it and bloom. So the way you do the mudra is by taking the pinkies together, the edge of the pinkies, and then the edges of the thumbs together. And then the rest of the fingers reach up and maybe a little bit out. I find it difficult to hold this position for very long, but we will hold this now in front of the heart. This is a mudra to bring about love and beauty. And so if we sit here with our hands in front of the heart, we may feel love and beauty coming to us. Notice your breath, inhaling and exhaling, soft gaze at the Lotus Mudra. You're welcome to close your eyes as well. Images of love, images of loved ones or of nature, whatever you love, whatever you think is beautiful. Now take all the fingers together at heart center, and I will close with a Sanskrit chant that translates to, may all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may our actions contribute to their happiness and freedom. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Thank you for joining me today. I wish you many days of self-care, and I wish you peace, joy, and love. Bye-bye.